With a soft smile, I approach him. Our bond is different now, and I'm definitely not complaining.
You know, I never used to climb those trees on my own.
Huh? That came out of nowhere?
That might be the real reason why I'm unaffected by all this. If anybody needs help right now, it's that poor kid.
Right. He's now an orphan, but the Zeros seem like family. There was no shortage of support and sympathy on display in the town square.
Let's just say I know what they're going through. You take a look, you can see them pretty clearly.
I look out of the window. We have a nice view of the town square. We are not too high up, so I can make out all of their faces. Sure enough, the child is there, surrounded by other Zeros.
I think that's the only thing that can help with grief. The sympathy of others who have experienced it as well. And experience it I have.
I place my paw on his shoulder and give him a couple of consoling pats.
Right, about climbing those trees. His name was, well, it's not important. Just know that he was basically my best friend. When we finished work, we'd sneak away from the colony. And like you could probably guess, we practiced climbing. He was at my side when I got the first glimpse of the city. God, I was addicted to it. And I asked him to go back with me almost every night. It was how we bonded. Our shared desire to call the city home. I didn't mention him because I was scared of opening up to you. You know how cold my shoulder was at the start of all this, right?
Yep.
But it's not like I was lying to you. It's more like I was lying to myself. I wish I never took him up there with me.
Huh?
I know I called him my best friend, but it started to turn into something more than that. We shared our first kiss up there, and a special pledge.
He scoffs and tucks his collar.
The promise that one day we'd live in the city together. It was pretty romantic, even if my vision told me it would never happen, but when your Komorebi is bad, sometimes denial is part of the package.
He walks away from the window, and I follow him to the center of the room.
It's a pretty strenuous workout climbing those trees, and without gear, a bad fall could really do some damage.
You tell that to some squirrel? Oh,
I'm sure you can figure out the rest. After that, he couldn't really walk anymore, which means he couldn't contribute to the colony. And with how our pay works, that's a death warrant. I tried my hardest, but I couldn't work enough for two people. If I kept splitting my food with him, we'd both starve. So he asked me to stop. And I couldn't exactly say no.
I can sense his sadness and tell he's trying not to cry. His ability to remain composed in the face of this is admirable.
So it's not the first time I've watched a Zero starve. What I saw in the town square was really nothing new. But you know what? Whether it was my friend or that kid's parents, we can make sure this is the last time. So that's why I'm not sad. I'm hopeful. Hopeful because for the first time it seems like our struggle is over. And if I keep this collar on, then it's like he's right here with me. All of a sudden, the pledge wasn't as far-fetched as I thought. Anyway, thanks for listening to me, Delta. I hate to ramble, but I thought it was pretty important. In the face of these losses, I can't help but feel optimistic. And it's a lot better to share optimism than grief. If all those Zeros got phones, you'll make a lot more friends. And those two people that died will go down in history forever. We all knew there was a chance that we'd die, but we were satisfied because we'd die fighting for our beliefs. And look, now almost the entire world shares those beliefs.
He smiles and playfully nudges my shoulder.
Must have felt nice to be ahead of the curve, huh? You got front row seats to witness everything change. And on Sunday, we might even play a part in all of it.
He tilts his head toward the hotel room door.
Let's get back to the group, though. I think that's all I really needed to talk about. And once again, you keep on proving that you're the cool one. I hope you don't mind if we spend more time like this together.
I want all the time I can get with you. With another smile, we leave the room together. I'm really glad that he chose to open up to me like that. I knew I wanted my friends to share their stories, so this was great. By the time we paid a visit to August, I would know everything there is to know. And then in that HQ, I would gain even more valuable memories. Especially since I would get to witness the master plan of Hermes firsthand. I'm filled with both excitement and overly cautious optimism. My goal was now to use my memories in a strategic fashion, to prove the worth of my friends and the worthlessness of Argus, and simply hope that we make it through this unscathed. Very interesting part. Oh. Always difficult. This here should be also
Experience
on the third.
pivotal fragment. Rebels and Revels. Finale.
1 second.
View which journal entry.
Oh, the journals are more to the left to click, and I always click in the middle. With how dystopian this is, I don't think unscathed is possible. We shall see. Time to read. AKA, I'm an idiot. When is this? That's on the 2nd. Okay. There we go. I wrote 2042 this time. But I guess it's a pretty honest mistake. Have you ever done that before? Sometimes the head kinda lags behind or something. Oh, I can tell a story about that. Like when it's 1800, I think like it's 1600. Oh well. It's odd how what? It's odd how wherever you look, there always seems to be a clash between the present and the future. It makes time seem a lot more confusing than just point A to point B. Or if you suffer from Komorebi, then point B to point A. I'm even letting a potential future change that the way I act in the present. Strange sentence? But I think I'm doing everything properly. Hopefully. The first couple weeks I was here, I kept seeing strange symbols everywhere in the back of my mind. Were those your doing? Was I seeing some sort of remnant or leak from the new nostalgia technology? I could see those diamonds everywhere when I closed my eyes, and it was really messing with my head. But those have since dissipated. In fact, a lot of my negative emotions have straight up disappeared since I came up with this new theory. Almost like I was right, and we are more in sync than we ever were before. I'm curious though. Did you think you were me at first? Did you live life like you were in my shoes? Or were you always aware that this was a fabrication?
View which journal entry.
Okay. Hermes opened up. I'm really glad that Isaac chose to open up to me and he believed my outlandish theory about what's going on. I suppose he knows Argus better than anybody else, so it makes sense that he would believe me. His knowledge helped him achieve almost everything he's done so far, so his validation means a lot. I guess it doesn't even matter if I'm right, though. The way I'm writing these diaries works out in my favor either way. If I'm talking to someone in the future right now, then it will become evidence and testimony. If something happens and this diary is confiscated by Argus, the same thing happens. So I have to start to think about the future regardless. Besides, I feel like the world will want to know more about Hermes. These figures that become legends usually never get the chance to be known for who they really are. People like that usually just get summed up by their achievements and little else. But I feel lucky that I've gotten to know Isaac on such a personal level. Maybe that's why you're watching me? I can see the appeal in learning more about one of the men who changed the world, but don't forget about his handsome sidekick, alright? I'm putting in some of the work too. On a more serious note though, Isaac's story is truly heartbreaking. I can understand why he's doing what he does and why he's devoted his entire life to it. We are on the verge of the culmination of his entire life's work, and that's really cool to think about, isn't it? Okay. Save here. Okay. That was still there. Let me go through the messages again because
Experience supplemental fragment.
I think the first one was on the 4th, which we don't want yet. I shall see. Yeah, that's the 4th. We don't want the 4th.
Experience supplemental fragment. Cipher.
This one is on the 3rd, but it's kind of a strange conversation. The start of it, at least. But let's do it anyway. The problem is that I don't know where these are playing timeline-wise. This must actually be here on the 3rd, but before the party, because we said like we're gonna end the game of R&R before the party. I just wonder if this is the 4th and this is the 5th. It's strange, but let's do this anyway.
Isaac, how long has this been going on, exactly?
What do you mean?
Working for Cipher?
Oh, I forgot.
How did you forget?
Well, it's just one of those things.
I see.
He's stalling.
I'm not, I swear. You've never had one of those things before? Something that's gone on for so long you forget when it started?
I do, actually. When I started tolerating you.
Ow.
Ouch.
To be fair, I know what he's talking about.
Me or Dante?
You. It's hard to pinpoint the origin of a habit, especially when it's something you do every day. He must have been doing this for a long time, Dante.
I know, that's why I'm asking.
Well, almost as long as I've been working for Argus.
Wasn't that your first and only job?
Yeah.
How'd you remain undercover for so long?
Remember, I'm a prodigy.
Your humility is showing again.
Burned.
I'm good at keeping secrets. Is that better?
Not really.
Oh, so you want me to spill all of yours?
Dropping it.
Hey, I have a question.
Okay.
Have you ever met Hermes?
Actually, I haven't had the pleasure.
Wait, you work for someone you've never met?
Yeah. and you live under the oppression of someone you have never met.
Well, it's the same with Argus. Not like I've met their leader either.
Fair.
What if the leader works for Argus too?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not like Cypher is a minimal threat. They have inside info on a grand scale.
Is Toronto their home base?
Maybe, maybe not. We make sure that we're always untraceable. Whenever we talk, we mask our face and voice too.
How do you know Hermes is a guy then?
That's just what he told everybody.
Fair enough.
Do you think he'll reveal himself when this is all over?
Probably. Cypher would be Argus's first real competitor. We don't need another leader who operates from the shadows. I think we're heading toward a world of progress and transparency. It's just unfortunate that those people had to die.
Did that affect Cypher's morale at all?
Not really. Well, at least not in a negative way. Seems like grief has become hope for a lot of people. Or maybe something stronger than hope. It's like we know this is gonna end in our favor.
I can't believe this will all be resolved on the 5th.
Hopefully.
Okay. More saves. No. Omnius music.
View which journal entry.
Ooh. Look, this is just the normal music when it goes like That's still better than like
Experience supplemental fragment. What if?
Let's see where I don't remember if this is the 4th or the 3rd or whatever. This is the 3rd, which is acceptable.
You know, I keep thinking.
Ah, yes, a dangerous habit.
Jesus, these two love each other.
What are you thinking about?
How things could have been.
That's even worse. Nothing hurts more than a what if.
What if Dante stopped talking for once?
See? Definitely hurt.
Don't keep us hanging, Taylor.
Right. I was just thinking about stuff. You know, what if things were different?
I imagine we'd still be at this convention. I mean, I wasn't gonna turn down a weekend of fun.
Isaac, he's talking about Cypher and Argus.
Like not getting involved with them, or do you mean if they never existed at all?
Oh, that second one is way more interesting.
If Argus didn't exist, I think I'd have been born in the city. Imagine that. We could have met ages ago.
You think we'd still be friends?
I don't see why not.
It's a big world out there, Chiron. Without Argus, I don't think I'd be here.
You mean alive or in Toronto?
Toronto, obviously. I'm only here because of the system. When I had to move, it chose where to take me.
And you just trusted it to make the right choice?
I guess so.
So the system got you where you needed to go. That's great. All it did was force the Zeros into colony life.
I'm sensing that we're at odds here.
Not really. It's just an observation. What's good for you can be bad for someone else.
Fair.
So, without Argus, we might never have met each other. That's kind of a grim thought.
Oh, can't live without me?
I'm quickly changing my mind.
He's lying.
I'm not sure what my life would be like without Argus, but I really hope that I'd still get to meet all of you.
I'm sure we'd be at a concert of yours someday.
Really?
Definitely.
Speak for yourself, fanboy.
I think we'd all still be best friends.
Even if I never moved to Toronto? How would we meet in the first place then?
It's called internet.
I don't know.
The odds are stacked against us here.
But we can't just give up because the odds are bad. I know in my heart that we'd all be friends no matter what. And sometimes belief is all you need to make things happen. Remember, I'm no stranger when it comes to fighting the impossible. Finding a couple friends is nothing compared to opposing Argus. If I ever lost all of you, I can guarantee that I'd find you.
With the power of friendship, you can do anything. It's almost as if you told a child, you can become anything you want. Anything. I wanna be a rich person. No problem, child. Just work hard. Oh wait, that's a lie.
Still on that screw fate mentality, huh?
It keeps me going, yeah. At the end of the day, I shape my own life.
Maybe you were right from the start then.
Huh?
If we'd all still meet and become best friends, then even if things were different, we'd still be at this convention.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe with a little less treason, though.
Oh, but then where's the fun?
What was that?
Experience supplemental fragment.
That is in the future. That should be the fourth. Fourth. Yep. What was that?
Experience supplemental fragment.
Oh no. It's also the fourth. Okay. Wishes. Isaac, Dante, Taylor, Place. If you have a wish for a heart to heart, you could say something right now and have your choice being picked. Crazy. Interaction. Choices. Imagine, like, this could be a stream and you could be in chat and you could interact with the streamer and be like, hey, I could influence what streamer is doing. Crazy. How does that work? Is it magic? I don't know. Oh, yeah. As I look at chat, the reaction is overwhelming. I can almost not pick my choice. It's hard. What could it be? I don't know. 84 years later, right? So motivated, so positive. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1.31, 1.247, 1.17432789958. I see. Very decisive.
Experience heart-to-heart fragment. Place 4.
Now that's gonna be awkward. Third. Good. I let Clace into the hotel room, ready to have another chat. Our dance on New Year's Eve was pretty special, but I'm torn. The guilt inside of me is growing and I'm not sure what to do. It's clear he's going through a tough time, an extremely tough time. Whatever happened in his vision has him contemplating his death. And unfortunately, it seems like he's considering doing it himself. Maybe I didn't need to tell him what I did. With my unique knowledge, I could just be a good friend. That's what I should do, right? Just leave it behind in 2041. I could make up for it without him even knowing. I could save him with my kindness, as it were.
Wow, look at that view.
He steps toward the window and places his paw on it. What is this, a déjà vu?
You know, I used to stay in a lot of hotel rooms, but they'd always close the curtain so no one could see inside. For my safety, just like everything else they always do. It was a double-edged sword though, that's for sure. Because it means I never got to see stuff like this. I bet a lot of people take it for granted. This whole idle world can really rob you of joy. Or at least, the ability to appreciate the little things in life. Have you ever felt lucky that you could go into a mall? Probably not, but maybe that gives you some perspective.
True. I'm sure that an idol needed to sacrifice a lot. Basically like every celebrity, right? Like it's great. People know you. People even love you. Being fans. And maybe you are even successful and wealthy. That's all good and fine. But at the same time you sacrifice a lot of freedom for it. Which sucks. But as I learn more about it, I feel so bad for him. He has almost no idea what a normal life is like. Not only that, but his first taste of it will probably be his last. After his hiatus, he has the next 10 years of his life planned out. Joy. Sorry about that. He's giving away his entire youth to experience what we all take for granted.
Anyway, I guess there are more important matters at hand.
Turns to face me, breaking the side of his distraction.
It's nice to see so many people feeding the zeros out there. I feel bad that we can't help out, but it makes sense for now. Gotta keep my public image in mind too. Don't want to go out there and openly defy Argus.
Starts pacing around in the room like his thoughts are frightening.
But people died. Argus just stood there and watched it happen. What does that mean for us? You say that there's an agent after us, right? What if we end up dead like those zeros?
That's not gonna happen, Clays.
Are you sure about that though?
Yeah, me and Isaac have a new theory.
A theory? How is a theory gonna help us out here?
It's about that new technology Argus is making.
What technology is that?
Nostalgia technology, the ability to revisit past memories.
I see.
There's a chance that everything we do will be observed in the future.
Everything?
Yeah, perhaps they're even doing it right now.
But from the future?
Now, it sounds weird, but it works in our favor.
How exactly?
We can send a message to the future, one that Argus can't intercept.
And what kind of message would that be?
Evidence and testimony, especially from our visit to their HQ.
Oh, I see what you mean. A memory can't be forged or modified.
Exactly. If we live for the future, our lives become a time capsule.
Live for the future, huh? You know, my old manager used to tell me that. We even talked about performances in VR. Your theory's kinda similar, isn't it?
Similar how?
Well, all I'd have to do is record one performance. They could set it up to loop for the rest of eternity if they wanted. Anyone could immerse themselves in that world and watch it happen.
Oh, it's starting to make sense.
So if we ever did that, I'd be living for the future, capturing one moment in time meant to be viewed later on. We do that with photos and videos all the time anyway. And trust me, I'm no stranger to the flash of a camera. I just hope that they don't abuse this technology. It really blurs the lines between right and wrong.
That's true, yeah. I don't elaborate on the theory in an attempt to avoid the scary parts. It's clear that August wants to use this to invade our lives even more. True, but we can use this technology against August.
Really?
As soon as it comes to fruition, we can show the world our memories.
So we basically script our lives in a way that antagonizes Argus. If they really are bad, then that shouldn't be a problem. Especially if we're going to be in the heart of their HQ.
It's catching on.
It's pretty cool when you think about it. You know, I've gotten used to having eyes on me at all times. It might be nice for people to see things from my perspective for once. Hopefully they don't think our dance was too cheesy.
He laughs and smiles at me.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, by the way?
Well, there's so much I want to talk about with him. But I can't talk about it, or else he would figure out what I did to him. I feel like he already knows. He must already know, right? I was the only one who could have entered his room during that time frame. And not only that, but I doubt I put the business card back in the right page. Taylor even told me that he started locking his door after what happened. Then why is he talking to me right now? Why is he so friendly and open to this outlandish theory of mine? Part of me wonders if it was intentional, like a cry for help. Maybe he wanted someone to read his diary. No, that couldn't be it. I realize he started staring at me, awaiting a response. After shaking my head, I apologize for losing my train of thought.
No worries, happens all the time.
I simply say the first thing that comes to mind. Pineapple on pizza. Oh wait, I wanted to learn more about you actually.
Really?
Yeah, life seems like it would be really interesting.
From the outside, I'm sure it does, but I assure you, it's pretty sad and boring.
Wanna put that to the test?
Hmm.
Smiles again.
Sure, why not? After this hiatus, I'll need permission for everything. Might as well capitalize on my one taste of freedom, right? And if other people listen in on this one day, well, even better. I can open up to everybody while only opening up to you. I'd call that a win-win, wouldn't you?
I would say so, yeah. Sits down on the edge of the bed and scoffs.
You have any idea how weird you sound, though? I mean, people spying on us from the future? If Komorebi wasn't real, I probably wouldn't believe you. But my life proves firsthand that the past and future can interact.
I find it odd that I came up with this theory. The only person in the group who didn't experience a vision. At least the unique situations worked out in my favor here.
You know, this is kind of like writing in my diary. But instead of recording stuff on paper, we're using our minds. At least with this, I know other people are going to be seeing it.
I'm not sure how to take that statement. I chose not to ask for clarification.
Well, what did you want to know? After New Year's Eve, I'd trust you with anything.
Sitting down beside him, I think of what I should ask. Can't be too invasive, as I'm pretty sure some topics are off limits. Especially his visions. His vision. His family life seems like a touchy subject too, though. Apparently, his manager was the closest thing he had to something normal. And he mentioned he had people up in the stars watching him live his life. It's odd. No matter what, I find myself circling back to it's odd, no matter what. I find myself circling back to his career as a pop idol. Even though I was aching to ask about other matters, I didn't know how to go about it. I wonder if that's how he felt. No matter what, he would always circle back as well. Perhaps he wanted to talk about the things that are bothering him. I'm reminded of the visit to my counselor, the things I wanted to say but couldn't. Sometimes we have no choice but to wear a mask and deflect tough conversations. I notice the bed shake slightly. In his position at the edge, he's kicking his feet back and forth. His heels hit the frame in a steady rhythm. Thud, thud, thud. It's like the ticking of a clock I like this word. Reverberating through my body. Each time his foot his feet strikes the bed, marks a second that passes without words. Like we both share the same knowledge, yet refuse to admit it to one another. Instead, we enjoy the silence of a world where his secrets haven't come to light. As alluring as the pall of ignorance can be, however, we need to move forward. Nobody ever got anywhere notably English, please. Nobody ever got anywhere notable by hiding from the difficult truths in life. What's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory? What an odd question.
Good.
I think it was one of my earliest birthdays, surrounded by people watching me open presents. I don't think I understood what a birthday party was just yet. I just knew that they were staring at me with a ton of expectation, something that happens to me all the time, even now. Present after present, I kept tearing open boxes, but eventually I opened a special one from my parents. That's the first thing I can ever recall. It was a toy microphone. It'd record your voice and play it back. You could apply a few effects to it too. I remember taking that thing everywhere. I'd ask people to let me perform for them.
He scuffs again.
At least then I got to request that they listen. Right now everyone demands it like they deserve it. And here I am, entertaining their demands like a fool.
Thud. Thud. Thud.
It's funny how flawed we all really are. Yet, we try so hard to cover it up. We burden ourselves with the pursuit of purpose. But we fail to see that the pursuit itself can be our purpose. Eventually, most people find that purpose in somebody else. They fall in love, settle down, and let time get the better of them. But in order to love somebody, you have to accept that you'll lose them too.
Oh.
I was never any good at that part. So sometimes it feels easier to just push that all aside. I'd rather find purpose in myself instead of somebody else. Or at least, that's what I used to think. This hiatus has started to challenge all of my views. Made me feel things I thought I'd be too scared to feel. And I think that's what it means to be alive. To always be at odds with the world and ourselves. Because you know what? Anything else is just boring.
No more thoughts. He seems calm and collected now. He's definitely gone off on a tangent, changing the topic almost at random. But I can tell he was doing it out of anxiety, an anxiety that was now dissipated. Actually, it was nice to hear him talk about his views on life. It's incredible how much better I know him than I just did yesterday. It really does feel like the new year is a new beginning for everything. But if I know anything about Claes, I know he's seconds away from circling back to the idle life once again. One more thought, but this time it's from Claes' standing up.
Do you think that's enough for now?
Why not? I'm not gonna push him to talk any more than he wants to. It's weird though. I really thought I knew what he would say next.
You know, I thought it'd be harder to open up like that. But I guess the circumstances are pretty unique.
I'm happy that you open up like that. I'm here for you.
Thanks, Delta. It means a lot. Let's leave the rest for next time, alright? I'd rather not make this feel like a final chat. Especially with what we're planning to do on Sunday. So let's push through it and pick this up on a new day.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
It's a grim agreement, even if it doesn't seem that way. But I have no reason to believe we are in grave danger. We'd survive, and I would learn even more about my friend. Perhaps I would learn more about what's really going on. When it came to this story, I can tell I've barely scratched the surface. Of course, I only know this because of what I did with his diary. Maybe I'm projecting more importance onto him than I should be. I mean, all of my friends have secrets. Even I have my own fair share. My inside knowledge shouldn't dictate my attitude toward him, should it? I don't know. If he really is going through something as bad as I think, then he needs a friend by his side, whether he admits it or not. Good job, Delta. You're trying to justify your terrible actions.
Wanna get back outside? I'm sure our friends are tired of waiting.
Why not? I didn't quite get the information I was looking for, but I feel like our bond is getting stronger and stronger. And if I wanted to help him, then that's what I needed to focus on. Yes. After all, you shouldn't approach a friendship with ulterior motives. If I wanted to make progress, I'd have to go about it naturally. And that applies to everything, not just matters with Claes. So until next time. Everybody with their own problems. That is how life works. I would say we do this.
Experience Pivotal Fragment. Rebels and Revels. Finale.
Oh no, not the finale. Learn to find beauty in the unknown rather than fright. We all sit around the hotel room engrossed in our campaign. Things sure have progressed since we started. I'm really invested. No thanks, I'll stick to the fright. And Coffee Siphon became a wolf again.
Well then, you struck a deal with the leader of the Thorns. It seems like they're willing to negotiate things with Isaac.
That was a little fast. I thought we were in a prison cell.
I had to expedite things a bit. And remember, stay in character.
Wow, sure glad we got out of that prison cell. Being locked up with Dante sure is a special kind of torture.
Remember, I'm technically your boss.
I'd reconsider threatening me, Dante. If this deal goes south, you'll all die.
He's got you there.
What is the nature of this deal anyway?
Well, it's basically a stalemate right now. We both have enough dirt to ruin each other. So I'm gonna ask them to drop it. A ceasefire, if you will.
And the town square is the best place for that.
Fight! Are we in a D&D session now? Yes. And no. Yes, this is a D&D session. And it is also a kickback to Winds of Change, because it's basically when we ended Winds of Change, they play like a campaign of the future of the end of Winds of Change. Which is funny. Like, when this first happened, I didn't expect that to happen. Oh, see, I didn't play any previous games. It's okay, because it's not really spoiling you anything from the previous game, because this plays in the future, aka after the end of Winds of Change. But it's a nice nudge they put into this game. I didn't expect this to see, but I love that they did it. It's really good.
Wait, I thought we were gonna bring them in. We have enough info to take down their entire organization.
It's more delicate than that. In a situation like this, it's best to trade discretion. We could take them down, but we can never erase info. Just trust me, alright? And yeah, the town square is the best spot. Too open for an ambush, and we're keeping civilians at a distance.
I'll take your word for it.
I hope they show up this time.
What do you mean?
Last time I arranged a meeting, it didn't go so well. Thankfully, the Monarch had my back.
That was a different kind of meeting, Isaac.
Right. But it's good to have some moral support either way, especially when there's so much on the line.
So we just wait, then?
Yeah, but by now we're experts at it. Besides, they agreed to show up before nightfall. It lessens the risk of an ambush on either side.
Our group of heroes waits in the town square. Eventually, as time passes, many of you start to lose hope. The window of time for their arrival gets smaller and smaller.
Where are they?
Something must have come up.
No, they'll be here, I promise. If not, then how about we go on the offensive?
You mean take them down like we originally planned?
At least we gave them a chance for peace.
True. That sounds like a plan to me. Been dying to put my sword arm to use again.
True, there hasn't been much fighting since the war. Looks like your arms have gotten a bit smaller, Chiron.
You must more at night.
You didn't say that.
Right, of course not. Sorry.
More time passes, and then more. You're about to give up hope. And then someone approaches from the far side of the square. As promised, they came alone. Just in time, too.
I am Judge Dredd. I am the law. Oh wait, wrong.
Hey, everybody!
Oh no, the GM put himself into the game. That's new. I don't recognize those clothings.
Oh no.
Really? A GM-controlled character?
Is that allowed?
Yeah, it is.
I came for Isaac.
Good job. Do you want to come for each of us?
You, might want to use less aggressive wording.
The negotiations. I came to resolve this.
That's better. Did you come alone?
As instructed.
Good job. Did you take photos?
Really?
You calling me a liar? My entire organization is built on the truth.
Just being cautious. The townspeople are starting to watch from afar.
Good thing they have nothing to worry about. Peaceful negotiations, remember?
Yeah,
A tense atmosphere fills the town square. The slowly setting sun offers lighting to increase the drama. This was a standoff between the two best information brokers in the world.
Oh. It's a broker off. It's on. It's a broker off. Who has more and the better information? Let's see who's superior with knowledge. That sounds so stupid.
I'm going to take slow steps toward you now. I promise not to make any sudden movements. In my pocket is a paper that we stole from your quarters. If we were to leak it, we'd have cause to take down the Thorns. I take slow steps toward the leader of the Thorns. I'm going to hand you the paper, and you can leave. Go back to your HQ and destroy all the intel you have on us. After that, remain silent about everything. We won't bother you, and you don't bother us.
How can I believe that, Isaac? Your monarch would let the Thorns roam free?
Yes, Mazeo will always have a criminal underworld. If we took you down, someone else would just rise up. So why not agree to put aside our differences? Who knows? We might even need each other's help in the future.
Very well. Continue stepping forward.
I keep stepping forward, taking slow, cautious steps. I know that any sudden movement could be seen as an attack. But little did he know, that's exactly what I had planned. When I get close enough, I reach into my pocket. But instead of a paper, I pull out my dagger.
Whoa, do I have a permit for that? Also, thank you, Bob. There we go. Sneaky.
What?
Isaac?
Now that's an absolute new face from Dante we have never seen before. So late into the game? Interesting.
I grab the leader of the Thorns, holding them hostage. I press the dagger against their throat in anger.
What are you doing?
As if you don't know. You came alone? Nice joke. I see 2 archers on the roof to the left, and 2 more on the roof to my right. I apply more pressure to his throat with the dagger. My turn to ask, what were you thinking?
Just trying to guarantee my safety.
I don't mean right now. Why did you skip out on our last meeting?
Huh? Sweet, he figured it out.
I know who you are. I figured it out in your quarters.
Then perhaps you'd consider showing me mercy.
Not after what you did to me. I've been looking for you my whole life.
Wait, is that?
And that's the big twist. The leader of the Thorns is Isaac's father.
No.
What?
Oh, the irony. He abandoned his son to save him from the family business. He didn't want Isaac to live his life surrounded by crime and deception. But in doing so, he only condemned Isaac to that life from the start. In the pursuit of finding his parents, he became the swindler he was today. He embraced the very world that his parents tried to keep him out of.
Wow.
You might not want to watch this.
Wait, Isaac, don't kill him. And whatever happened, you can work it out.
No,
Isaac, please. Put the dagger away.
I'm not budging on this one, Dante.
The whole group tries to talk Isaac down, especially when they were under the eyes of several archers.
Isaac, this isn't what we're like. The monarchy doesn't assassinate people.
Then consider this my resignation. I run the dagger across his throat, then throw him to the ground.
Isaac, seriously?
There's no time to act. The archers let loose in an act of revenge. Isaac tries his best to dodge, but he's shot through the left shoulder.
Oh no! I'm shot!
Oh no, you're such a bad actor.
In that moment, everyone flees from the town square. Arrows rain down upon you, and you try your best to escape unharmed. But one heartbreaking fact is clear. Isaac flees in the other direction, away from his friends. In this moment, he chose revenge over his loyalty to the monarchy.
Oh no, I appear to have been penetrated by an arrow.
Revenge for his father abandoning him as a child. Revenge for every bad thing that ever happened in his life. It didn't even matter to him that the townspeople watched in shock. To them, they saw the monarchy resort to assassination. They'd never know who that was, or that the thorns would fall apart. You all escape unharmed, but several questions linger in the air. What would happen to the monarchy next? What would the people think about your cause now? Isaac's actions struck a blow to the integrity of everything. Did he really abandon you after taking his revenge? Was everything that happened worth it? Is your rule in jeopardy? I think those answers we should save for the sequel.
Oh, don't you dare. Actually, don't you dare. Like, please don't actually make a sequel to Winds of Change. I thoroughly enjoy the fact that each game is its own thing. Not that I'm opposed to a sequel, but like I said, like having a new game every time is actually far more interesting. Since each game is taking quite a lot of time. Okay, so we have all of that. I just want to know what day this is.
Experience pivotal fragment. Rebels and Revels. Aftermath.
It's so strange. Is this actually going? Interesting. Let's see. Your failures should inspire you rather than hold you back. That's true. Learn from your failures. We all sit around the table exchanging satisfied glances. I guess that was the end of our campaign, at least our little test campaign. New music. It's complete new music.
Well, what'd you think?
I'm impressed, but I thought you wanted to avoid a cliffhanger.
No, it wasn't that bad. Besides, we answered a major question, so for me, that's enough resolution.
Yeah, that was a pretty good finale. Definitely fit the tone and style of everything.
Nice little twist at the end, too. I mean, my father was the leader of the Thorns.
I thought I'd triple down on the irony. Gotta feel bad for your character, though.
Well, he did what he had to do. It's like he always does. At least now he has closure on something that haunted him forever.
It's kinda cool how this all lined up with our own world, too. Well, our rebellion took down the Triumvirate, right? They were clearly evil, so we changed the world for the better. But there was a power struggle between us and the Thorns. If we continue the story, I imagine they'd be the first of many.
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, exactly. If we treat Argus like the Triumvirate, the result could be the same. Competitors will rise up, taking advantage of the gap in power.
That's the most realistic outcome, yeah. But I imagine in our world, the competition won't be as underhanded.
Or as violent, hopefully.
Or that. We'll probably just see new companies rise up, each one with their own unique identity and benefits, but they'll all be tied to the system, not just Argus.
Do you think Argus is using the system to their own end?
If they were, it was probably in the name of the greater good. Even I agree that Komorebi requires some level of social control, but not nearly as much as they've led us to believe. They're using fear of the unknown as a weapon.
And it was working too.
I'm loving all these parallels between real life and our campaign. Makes it seem like Taylor actually took time to plan all this.
Of course I did. Remember, you baited me into doing this. If I let down the storyteller of the group, I'd be crushed.
Yeah, you did a good job. Even connected Isaac's backstory to the overall narrative.
Is there a term for that?
It's just called connecting plot threads. It makes the conclusion a lot more satisfying. Without a strong foundation, everything just falls apart.
And calling them threads is a metaphor, right?
Kinda. You want all your threads to be as strong as possible. We all know what happens when you tug on a loose one.
Everything falls apart.
It's pretty cool when you think about it, right? Isaac is part of a rebellion, just like the characters in our campaign were. And because we've got his back, we're members too.
Us? Agents of Cypher?
Yeah, for longer than we thought.
Sorry for not telling you sooner.
You say we're agents of Cypher, but I'm gonna say we're unwilling accomplices.
That makes it sound so boring. We can help Isaac change the world here.
And if we fail?
We've come too far to fail. If we were gonna lose, it would have been ages ago.
Probably as soon as he applied Chiron's identity to that phone.
Yeah, that was the riskiest part.
You mean whatever you're planning at their HQ isn't risky?
Oh, it definitely is. Just not as much as you'd think. It's been smooth sailing so far, and I aim to keep it that way.
If you say so.
If you're starting to doubt things, just look at the town square.
What about it?
Complete unity. City folk have started feeding and hanging out with the Zeros. Both sides are now part of the protest. And what is Argus doing about it? Nothing. Everyone was worried about stepping in and getting in trouble, but it's not happening. So it's just inspiring more people to help. Our entire journey so far has been filled with worry. Sure, but it was always worry about what could happen. It's never been based on what has happened. And each day that passes, more stuff keeps happening. Our concerns have been put to rest almost every single day. So it's time to start basing our thoughts on reality. We can't let them use fear of the unknown against us. Remember, that's always been their most valuable weapon.
You have a point.
Wow, what a speech. Maybe we should have made you the monarch.
Oh, I'd definitely rock that crown.
We all smile as our time with the campaign comes to an end. But with it came striking similarities to our current situation. Similarities that fill me with resolve rather than fear. I remember thinking up some similarities when we first started. But back then, so much was uncertain. It's impressive how far we've come in such a short time. Isaac telling us about the link to Cypher seemed to unite us even more. I gotta say, being an agent of Cypher sounds pretty awesome. We're about to witness the end of Argus' monopoly and the aftermath. If Cypher is like the rebellion, then they would rise up after this all ends. If only Dante knew how much irony was behind his statement. Isaac should be the monarch? Well, he technically was. He's running Cypher much like how I ran the rebellion and the monarchy. And just like me, he was uniquely qualified to take on the task. His entire life has led to this Sunday. Thankfully, there's no one I would trust more than him, especially when it came to bringing us to a better future. Saves.
View which journal entry?
Yes, 4. Okay, that's one day ahead? Do I want to read that? Well, tomorrow is the day the leader of Argus finally reveals themselves. Nobody knows who they are and even why they are appearing. People hope they will take accountability for the midnight deaths, but for some reason I feel like that's not the case. Also, tomorrow is the day of Isaac's follow-up interview, but I think it's become clear that he's sabotaging it in order to enact his final plan. He's throwing away his entire career. The level of conviction he has is actually kind of scary. But I guess nothing is stronger than personal belief. I don't really know what to write anymore. I've only really been here for a few weeks, but so much has happened. Maybe this is the part where we just strap ourselves in and enjoy the ending? Well, you probably already know what's coming, but the possibility fills me with endless fright. If my life is deemed worthy of being experienced in any way, and tomorrow is the biggest day of it, well, I feel like that will be the selling point. I kind of hoped my move would be simple. A slice of normal life with maybe some romance and comedy sprinkled in for good measure. But it seems like we are now agents of Cypher and we are going to help Hermes change the world. Who said that one coming? Oh, besides of you, of course. Right. I don't know how the game is going to end. It's trying to feed me lies.
View which journal entry?
I'm going to click on that. That's the 5th. I actually don't want to read that yet.
Experience. Heart-to-heart fragment. Taylor 4.
Taylor for whom? Or who? Is he for the first time like behaving? Probably not. I entered the hotel room with Taylor, ready to chat with him some more. Yes, chat. Chat, chat. Last time we talked, he opened up a lot more. I'm not sure what was left. I know about his vision, his past, and what makes him tick. What else was there? Maybe I could just strike this one off the list. Taylor has made his intentions and personality clear from day one. A moment to let my guard down and relax with a friend. Can't pass that up.
You know, we've got a great view from up here. Pretty high up, but not high enough that the people become a blur.
He stares out the window at the cityscape of Toronto. Why is everybody doing that? Like, so far, every time we made a heart-to-heart, everybody was like, this window, this is the best window ever in my life. Let's look out of it and comment on it. I mean, I get it. It's a view. It makes sense to some degree.
You know, I still remember the day I flew here. In fact, I remember every flight I've ever been on.
The way he says this implies that he flew around a lot. Due to his past, I'm pretty certain that the implication is accurate.
I thought it'd only be a matter of time before they transferred me somewhere else. But you know what? They didn't. They basically just threw me away. I guess when you reach a certain age, they think you can fend for yourself. It's odd. Like one day we wake up with all that added responsibility.
Yay! Congratulations, you are now 18. Here's your first bill.
Well, responsibility and expectation. The two worst things to go hand in hand.
Yay, I agree.
A lot of people just crash and burn in a situation like that. I think the mark of success is someone who perseveres. And persevering means not giving up when things get tough or scary. We've been experiencing a lot of that lately.
Is he having doubts about all of this? I can't really blame him, but I hate to hear it.
If I didn't already have a following, well, Toronto would have eaten me alive. I only got off the ground because they were willing to help me. But after everything I went through, I think I deserved it.
I remember the story about how his allergy. I remember the story about how his allergy was exploited. It's truly terrible that somebody would resort to something like that. But what strikes me as more profound is how it affected Tyler. Someone could come out of that situation bitter and hating the world. Yet here he was, a man who changed for the better. So much so, in fact, that he was certain he had beaten his vision. Of course, he was super flirtatious and his partners seemed numerous. A key trait of someone looking to make up for lost time. Time lost to pushing everybody away. I stand beside him and we look out the window together. The sight was pretty familiar by now with how much I've been up here. But one by one, I've seen my friends take in the sight and enjoy the beauty.
I'd hate to lose what I have, even if it was in the pursuit of something good. I'm still thankful that Isaac gave us the option to run.
He places his paw on the window, leaving a print. It adds to the ones already present, like a mosaic of our stay.
That's why I was thinking about my flights again, by the way. As I flew from place to place, I got to leave my baggage behind. Of course, I just created new baggage, but I can only blame myself for that. As the plane was taking off, I'd stare out the window. In fact, I'd keep my eyes glued to it the entire time. But takeoff and landing were always my favorite. I looked down on the people as we rose up. All of them together, writing the city's story. A story that I'd no longer be a part of. And that hurt me for a while. But as we rose up, they got smaller and smaller. I lost their faces, their outfits, and then, well, everything. You know what? It stopped hurting. It felt good. I'd never have to see anybody that wronged me again. And at the same time, I couldn't hurt anyone else who lived there either. That might have been what made me a bully, to be honest. No matter how much chaos I caused, they'd just move me again. I'd escape all consequences of my actions. I'd have nothing to face. I remember when we started our descent into Toronto. At that point, I had already started to change. Normally, I'd look at a new city as a place to run amok. But because of my hospital stay, I saw things a bit differently. I noticed the people as we landed, going about their days. A city that had a story wholly unaffected by me, yet one that was waiting for me to make my mark. I told myself that I wouldn't make the same mistakes. And now, before you stands the best version of me.
He turns to face me, and I can see the sadness in his eyes.
I'm just scared that things won't stay this way. I turned my life around, became happiness for so many people. What if we get caught? What if we get thrown in jail? What about everyone that looks up to me? What about all the friends that I have in my industry? How can I do something so reckless? Why am I so torn between my image and my beliefs?
It's normal to feel the things you are feeling.
Really? How so?
A little hesitation is normal when you're changing the world. You will be heralded as a hero for this, not punished.
You think so?
I know so. Argus can't keep the world in their grip.
What if they can? What if they catch us? They can just lock us up. That and write any narrative they want. Make us look bad.
No, our story will definitely be told. And let him know that it's not like that. In fact, I see no reason to hide my theory about the future from him. Well, Argus is working on some new tech.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. It was on their anniversary report and a follow-up keynote. Can you believe that? They totally ignored the zeros. Instead, they just flaunted everything they could. It's like Dante always says, they only care about their ego. But now, lives are on the line. They have blood on their hands. You were saying, though?
Our memories could absolve us.
You really think so?
Yeah, they could be watching us right now to see if we are good people.
I guess you're right. Especially if this tech comes out in our lifetime. I wonder what things have been like from Isaac's perspective.
It's an interesting thought, to say at least. Running Cypher while dealing with all of us. Anyone else might have carved under the pressure.
I'm used
Caved.
to being watched and judged from the future anyway.
What do you mean by that?
Well, whenever I end a stream, a rerun is uploaded. People can watch it over and over again, whenever they want. That past version of me is constantly being observed, even now. It's like a time capsule of that exact point in my life. Relative to me, if you watch it now, you're watching from the future. This new tech seems just like that, with a few more layers of depth.
I guess he has a point. It's funny how him and Isaac share the same train of thoughts as me. Thought? Whatever. This would just be the next generation way of preserving memories. It's not enough to hear them or see them, we're able to live them too. It was obviously an excuse to spy on us even more, which is truly awful. But I know we can turn this around and use it to our advantage. If we secured knowledge that compromised Argus, well, it might not even matter if we fail our mission on Sunday. If they ever made that technology, we could use it to show people our memories. And that would supersede anything Argus said about us. Sure, they could use this technology to invade our privacy even more. But as a double-edged sword, it would let stifled voices be heard.
Reminds me of that talk we had after the Wayfarer. You know, how when people die, they return to the stars?
I know.
I made a dumb joke about my ancestors watching me make out. Pretty ironic that it's gonna be my descendants who have that chance. Almost everything has ended up being the opposite of what I thought.
And you thought we might lose, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still kinda do. But challenging my thoughts can only help in the end. So, I'm gonna try and turn this doubt into resolve.
He smiles at me.
I still plan on sticking to our pact, you know. Whether I believe it's possible or not, it doesn't matter. What matters are the steps I take, here and now. And I'm glad to have you by my side, Delta. Whatever happens, at least I'm not alone in all this. It's just like Chiron said, at least we'd be going down together. So no matter what, I know I've beaten my vision.
He blushes and smiles.
Besides, the darkness feels less scary when you're around.
I hold out my paw and he places his in mine. We stand there, staring out the window in silence. Perhaps it was because we didn't need words anymore. I can feel everything he wants to say through the grip on my paw. Part of me wonders if he can feel the same in mine. Without a word, he smiles at me and blushes. I smile back, and then our attention is diverted back to the window. Back to Toronto. A city whose story was on the verge of a new page. And with any luck, it would be a page written by the people, not Argus. That was interestingly refreshing, different. When it comes to Taylor. Not bad, not bad. Let's see.
Experience pivotal fragment. Possibilities.
That should be the fourth, and then when you transition out of the chapter, it should be the fifth. Learning to take your own advice is the greatest strength of all. Yes, in most cases that is the case. But being a hypocrite is also fun. Sorry. We all sit back in the hotel room trying to relax. This might be the last time we get to do this. It's the real calm before the storm. Thankfully, we've made it this far without any hiccups. And tomorrow, everything would come to an end. Hopefully, in our favor, but at this point, I have no idea. I can rest easy, however, knowing that all my friends have opened up. We weren't this far yet. To anyone viewing my memories, I have no doubt. You know, we are good people. Can't even say we're good people caught up in a bad I can't even say we're good people caught in a bad situation. I've truly come to believe that we are doing the right thing. We might not destroy Argus, but they need a reality check. They shouldn't have as tight of a grip on the world as they do. It's immoral. Cypher can rise up and the first threat to the monopoly of Argus. I look forward to a world full of progress and innovation. It sure beats what we have. But for now, I take a large swig of soda enjoying the company of my friends. Friends, that's right. But now we are also agents of Cypher, however, unwittingly.
This is gonna suck.
It's gonna be cool, actually. I'll finally get to show you the full extent of my skills.
Putting Chiron in the system wasn't the full extent of your skills?
Not even close.
Now I'm scared.
Don't worry, Dante. You're on my good side. Let's just make sure it stays that way.
Are you gonna tell us what the plan is yet?
I can't. So I have to wait until the time is right. A lot of this is on a need-to-know basis.
I clicked too fast, I'm so sorry.
Such a cliche line.
I know. I've always wanted to say it. Must have sounded so cool.
Sure, let's go with cool.
Taylor looks worried. I can tell that the fear must be getting to him.
So, what do we do in the meantime?
Well, tomorrow is gonna change everything. It's the last time we might get to do this.
What do you mean by this?
We won't really know until tomorrow. It was kind of an abstract statement.
He just means the status quo is gonna change.
Hopefully for the better.
Of course. I have this down to a science. So how about we celebrate instead of worrying?
Sure, makes sense to me. We want to look back on this as a happy time.
Speaking of looking back,
Oh, you talked to Delta too?
I guess I wasn't the only one.
We talked about what exactly?
the past.
Oh, well, in that case, me too.
It's always important to look back before looking forward. Reminiscing is always important in the face of change.
Yeah, the past is always set in stone. It's comfortable and familiar.
You know what they say, right? The safety of the past is the greatest treasure that we can never possess.
I guess Argus is aiming to change that.
Just another way to keep us in line. Super cheap booze and a glorified dream machine.
We're gonna put a dent in that plan, though. Without their monopoly, their control will be limited.
I guess. But we'll always need the system. Competition only introduces lesser evils.
At least there'd be options. Argus can't keep things like this forever, right? If they have sole ownership, then they have sole control.
I guess so. I mean, we might be able to take that control away from them, but at the end of the day, Komorebi trumps everything. We'll never be able to compete with a force like that. Especially when we don't even understand it.
Do you think we ever will?
Doubtful. Especially when it's easier to just run and hide. This nostalgia technology is basically admitting defeat.
But at the end of the day, it's still a new technology. That's kind of exciting, with how stagnant things have been.
Right. We've all become creatures of routine. I remember Isaac saying as much back when I first arrived.
But stagnancy goes hand in hand with control. Can't wait to see what happens when we open the floodgates.
Embracing my metaphor, huh? Nice.
Isaac nods and smirks.
A race with one person is pretty boring, right? They have no reason to push themselves forward. Throw a few more people into the mix, things go haywire. If Cypher wins, then a lot more people will enter the fray. As for what they'll create, I see unlimited potential. Who knows? Maybe we'll even find a way to stop Komorebi.
You really think so?
I mean, I think anything is possible. But if Komorebi benefits Argus, of course they'd want to keep it around. We won't really know what's possible until more people get a say.
When you put it like that, I'm kind of excited.
How do you stop visions of the future, though? Aren't you stuck with them, even if you defy them?
I remember talking about that on the way to the nightclub. If you defied your vision, you would still experience it all the time. In my mind, that changed the very nature of visions to begin with. What if they aren't visions of the future?
I'd have to ask you to elaborate.
Well, it's only the future from your perspective.
Who else's perspective is there?
Your future self.
Okay, now you're losing me.
To your future self, it would be a vision of the past. You only call it the future because of the side you're on right now.
I guess that makes sense. But what does it change?
You plan to defy your visions and stay friends, right?
Ideally, yeah.
Then it won't always be a vision of the future. Eventually, it will become a vision of an alternate past.
Does that really change anything, though?
Yeah, it does.
How so?
Right now, we're trapped on one side of our visions, the side where we see it as our future and nothing else. But Delta is right. When I live past the point in my vision, it'll just be an echo. Some weird memory of a past that never was. And for some reason, I think that's comforting. I feel a bit more free when I think about it that way.
I guess that's the power of perspective. Alternate lives is a pretty common theory, too.
Okay, so they're just visions then. Doesn't change how intrusive they are. I hate mine, no matter when it comes from.
At least it might not come true. It's better to stay a vision than become reality.
I guess.
Okay, this is starting to make my head hurt. But if it means I might not be on a colony in the future, then I'll take it. Any bit of hope is better than what I have right now.
What if we want our vision to come true, though?
I guess that's when this turns into a double-edged sword. Your comfort can just be someone else's worry.
Where does the alternate past come from then? It feels way too real to just be a possibility.
That's the question that the end of this conversation lingers on. Future or past, the visions had to come from somewhere. Another reality? Another timeline? Who knows? That's an interesting thing to think about, though. If Komorebi was an echo of another life, does that mean this was my first? I had no echo to witness, after all. Could this life just become the Komorebi of another me? Maybe another version of me was witnessing this moment right now. In a hotel room with friends about infiltrate Argus HQ and oppose them. If that was the vision I had as a kid, I would probably do anything to oppose it. After all, I would see no merit in going against the power that basically govern our world. So in this exact moment, I finally feel happy and content with my lack of vision. I truly live my life for me, not to avoid anything, and not to pursue it either. Because if I had a vision, I might not even be here right now. But after everything I've experienced, I know one thing. This is where I was meant to be. And I got here with the ability to call all of my choices my own. I didn't follow a vision. No invisible hand guided me down this path. Smile. And hopefully one day this kind of life would be the norm. Smile. Yes, all your choices were yours. Nobody had any chance to influence your choices at all. That would never happen. That would be strange.
Experience supplemental fragment. Favorite work.
Go, 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 go.
Hey, Clace,
What's up?
do you have a favorite song?
Like, in general, or one that I wrote?
One that you wrote?
I've been thinking about it more, actually. It's probably Priority.
The one that you sang at the party?
Yeah,
Any reason why?
because I meant everything I said in it.
Do you normally not?
Well, I try not to write about my real-life experiences, or at the very least, I try not to write about other people. But sometimes, an exception has to be made.
Wait, you don't write about other people? I do that with like every single character.
Yeah, but your books are fiction, and my songs, people know I'm talking about myself.
So you have to watch what you say?
Not really, I just try to. It's almost like getting a tattoo, you know?
I don't follow.
Well, my songs are gonna be a part of me, forever. That means I can't release anything I might regret later.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, especially when it's about an ex-lover. Wouldn't want to have their name etched into my body. Or in this case, a permanent part of my legacy. So, sometimes it's just better to keep your mouth shut.
But not when it came to Priority.
Yeah, sometimes I value self-empowerment more, especially when listeners could be in a bad situation. My songs speak to a lot of people, you know? Sometimes I think they deserve a good message.
Makes me sound kinda evil.
Why's that?
If you're on his bad side, he puts you in a book and kills you off.
But, hey, Dante, you basically did this with everybody. Maybe except with Clace.
Harsh.
It's cathartic, actually. Writing is a valid way to work through your emotions.
So is writing lyrics for a song. Ask No, actually, you can't ask anymore. If you want a perfect example of this, Linkin Park.
That's definitely true. But hold on. I'm not gonna be in your next book, am I?
Oh, absolutely not. You're on my good side. The next one's all about Taylor, actually.
Hey!
Of course it is. Isn't it always about Taylor or something like that? I wouldn't be surprised. At all. Any shape or form.
Experience supplemental fragment. Day drinking.
Day drinking. Such an immoral thing to do. Oh. It's not about when you drink. It's about how much you drink.
Hey, Isaac,
What's up?
there's something I've been meaning to ask.
This is a missed opportunity. Hey Isaac, what's up? Hey Isaac. And he would go like, what's up? I'm sorry. Just the first thing that came to my mind when he said like, what's up?
Go for it.
Well, you always say that day drinking is better,
Well, it is.
but you've never elaborated on it.
And give away my secret?
I'm just gonna search this up online and get it over with.
Moments pass.
So, turns out, you're just an alcoholic.
What? Not even?
Wanna tell us the secret then?
I don't know.
I can't help with this one. We've only been drinking at night.
And did you feel it the next day?
A hangover? You could say that, yeah?
Mine was pretty bad after the nightclub, too.
Wait a minute.
I think you're starting to get it.
That's all it was?
Well, I never said it was a life-changing secret.
Wait, I'm confused. What is it?
Why didn't they get that?
If you drink during the day, you don't get a hangover.
Yep. You get to enjoy the high without the low. It's just a habit I picked up with work so it doesn't interfere. A hangover is a surefire way to destroy your productivity.
So we should encourage people who drink alcohol to get up in the morning, have breakfast, drink, and then go to work, which is a bad idea. Like, eh. Get up, eat breakfast, go to work, then drink, then work is also a bad idea. God damn it. It doesn't add up.
So, Argus drove you to alcoholism.
Yeah, and do you know how many jobs around the world drove people to, yes, become alcoholics and also became smokers? Because it's easier to deal with it. But it's still not good. It's not good, Coffee Cypher. You know it.
To day drinking, actually. It's not as uncommon as you'd think.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. What about people who work overnight? If they only have spare time during the day, are they alcoholics?
I guess not.
Exactly. Time is relative. Why not prefer the method without a hangover?
Is he projecting his denial onto us?
Not really. He kinda has a point. If I could get rid of hangovers, I'd do it.
Exactly. You've just been conditioned to drink at night.
Wait, I actually read about this. In ancient times, tyrants would reward slave workers with beer. It pacified them and made them less inclined to fight back.
Really?
Well, that's what the theories say. Kinda makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Are you sure about that? Because alcohol makes people also more emotional. If you said like, reward the slaves with a joint, then I would rather believe it of saying like, yeah, it makes them more complacent and doing this shit and not like rebel against me. But with alcohol, it's like the opposite? I don't know. Like I always say, I rather encounter people being high than people who are drunk.
About what?
Argus does make booze cheap and easily available.
You mean they're just trying to keep us in line?
Maybe. Who knows? If they are, though, it certainly works.
Jimmy, I'm glad you're here at our workstation. Here, have a beer, and a good day to you. What a new work mentality, right? Just try to imagine that. It's kind of funny. Yeah, we're here at the company. We all like are chill. Like we have our white wine. We drink occasionally while we work here. I mean, it depends what work you do, right? Like imagine being phone support plus drinking. That would be not a good recipe. Like that doesn't work well together. Yeah.
Experience supplemental fragment. One last hurrah.
It should be on the 4th, I think. Yes.
You all ready?
For what?
One last hurrah before tomorrow? I ordered some food and drinks to the room.
Yay, free food and drinks.
Ooh, anything good?
You'll just have to wait and see.
You know, I'm kind of scared.
Why's that?
Everything comes to an end tomorrow. Isn't anyone else a little worried?
Not really. I've never been more confident in my life. You'll all be fine. I guarantee it.
Infiltrating Argus's HQ. Yeah, the definition of safe.
I have a plan, Dante. You just have to wait until tomorrow to see it.
Until it doesn't.
Fine. What's it look like in there anyway? For some reason, I imagine it's really extra.
I only saw it for the first time at my interview. It's pretty majestic. Probably cost hundreds of millions.
Johnny Silverhand style. If I wanna fuck you, I will throw you. If I want your body, I'll fuck it. Sorry, I just can't get over the entire thing of Keanu Reeves is thirsty, lewd, horny in Cyberpunk all the time. It's such a great video. I love it. And your body up fucking throw it. Entrance from the rooftop and to the ground floor with a thermal nuclear bomb. Jesus. Like, yeehaw! Probably costs hundreds of millions. You know what? I have a better idea for those hundreds of millions. Instead of investing it for some posh, noble interior designs, just give it to me. You know? Give me the money so I can give most of that money to other people who also need money. Best I can do is free $10 pipe. Oh, you just don't do any pipe bombs because here's a better idea. Don't do the three $10 pipe bombs. Instead, just go on a date with someone you like.
Well, if anyone could afford it, I guess it'd be them.
They have that much money? You must be rich working for them.
We're not really supposed to talk about salary.
Oh, never talk about your salary.
Why not?
You know, I never understood that rule. Don't talk about how much money you make.
Well, it's pretty personal information.
Is it, though?
I talk about my money on stream all the time. My numbers are public too, so everybody knows.
And guess what? Before the incident, nobody knew how much people were making on Twitch. Now everybody knows. There are even dedicated websites for it, and you can look everybody up at any given point. And yes, it is actually quite scary. The current #1 streamer on Twitch makes like 85,000 just through subs and probably also bits. Like, I think only subs. And that's kind of scary. Yeah, I actually looked into that streamer for once, but I was not impressed. I was like, why? Why is this person #1 on Twitch? I don't get it. Anyway.
You're all just falling for a corporate lie.
A what now?
You're not the one who wants to keep it a secret, Isaac. Argus probably taught you that it's sensitive information. And you want to know why?
Enlighten me.
If you don't talk about your salary, then there's no drama. I guarantee you make more than someone else with the same job. And if you were all open about it, everyone would be asking for a raise.
That can't be true.
He might be onto something, Isaac. I was told not to talk about my royalties or advances.
And I was told not to talk about how much my music deals are worth.
See what I mean? I'm the only one with freedom, and all my numbers are public. It doesn't cause conflict, though. It makes people strive to work harder. I mean, if I can earn that much, well, so can everybody else.
I guess I see what you mean.
You still don't have to tell us, Isaac.
You know, back on the colony, we were pretty open about what we made. It's kind of like Taylor says, work harder and you end up making more. Wouldn't be fair to pay someone less for the same job, but they ask you to keep quiet about it so they can get away with it.
Social criticism, by the way. Why are we paying women, or should I say females, less for the same job than we do for males? Why are we doing that? It's not fair, right? It isn't fair. Oh, by the way, if you ever wanna teach a male person why females deserve the same, if you ever wanna learn why the female or woman or girl, oh, there we go. Can you press on those 2 messages for me, Coffee Siphon? I just want to test out if it disappears for me. So, I recently saw a video, which I actually found really good, is guys going through the feeling of period. I still see it, which is strange. I will give it a little bit more time. So the video was about guys going through the feeling of how it is to deal in a everyday life day with period. So there are machines that make your muscles contract, which is very similar to what the period feels like for women. And it was agonizing for them. And considering they also experienced it in various levels, from light, mild, and severe, and then becoming aware of that's how women have to deal their everyday work life when they get like a period and have to deal with this for a week. Yes, a week. And just work. They became aware of that and they were like, holy shit, how can you even do this? Because they struggle so hardcore with it. And at the end of the day, they literally like asked like other female co-workers, like, if you were on the period, would you mind if you could take time off for it? And they were definitely going like, yes. And let's be honest, without even experiencing it, just watching it, I would say, like, even without watching this actual video and how the actual feeling is about that, I always say, like, you know what? Girls/women deal with this shit every month. And nobody is like, yeah, you should have a deserved time off for this to deal with this. Completely apart from the fact that it is literally not fair to pay someone less wage for whatever the reason would be. It doesn't even matter if it's between males and females. Even inequality of like, I pay this person less because I don't like them, or I pay this person less because racism or anything else. It's just not okay at all in any given circumstances. And it's disgusting that it is still a thing these days, and it's barely changing. How about having girls know about getting kicked in the balls? You can do that. Kick a girl into her vagina. It's basically the same thing. Look, and if you don't believe me, that's the same thing. Punch their breasts. Because that's also the same thing. Maybe the punching in breasts equals the kicking into the balls far more. Some people don't understand unless it happens to them directly. Yeah. Look, that's the thing. If girls can kick your balls, then you can punch their breasts. I'm sorry, but that's just a fair equalizer in the game. But all in all, please don't punch girls' breasts. And please don't kick guys' balls. Okay? Just be nice with each other. Wow, social criticism, and we talked about it. How dare I? And that on stream.
Oof, that's rough, man.
I'm still not gonna tell you. It's probably in my contract.
Yeah, that's how I know about it. Mine had a clause like that as well.
It's weird how much control they have without us even realizing. They can just tell us something is bad and we'll believe it.
But it's only to protect them, just like how they taught you the zeros were bad.
Speak of it, thank you, Bob. I shall do the audio save. There we go.
I wonder what else there is.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow, right? Seems like the 5th will change everything.
Okay, that was shorter than I thought. Whoop. Whoop. Okay. Make a save.
View which journal entry.
So we read 1, 2, 3, 4. Didn't I read this? actually read that.
View which journal entry?
But we didn't read this. That's actually the day to the next day, which we actually haven't experienced. I always find this a little bit strange that we have a page about a day that literally is going to happen in the transition part, which is strange to some degree. Hermes Day. Living life for the future instead of the present. Normally, that would describe all of my friends. And lately, it's described me and my relationship with my memories. At the end of the day, our own experiences really are the most valuable thing in the world. Feelings that belong to you and nobody else. At least that's how things were supposed to be. Just like Komorebi disturbed the natural order of things, it seems like this new nostalgia technology may do the same thing. We will either become prisoners to our own past, addicted to reliving our highlights over and over, or start to turn other people's lives into a commodity, a story to be bought and sold. I didn't expect to have you along for the ride, but I guess some of the biggest moments in life are unexpected, right? Do you know how sometimes you can sense someone's true nature? Like just spending a second with somebody can tell you all you need to know? That kind of happened with you. No matter what, I can tell that your intentions aren't bad in any way. Argus is playing some sort of four-dimensional chess here. Cheese. Aren't they? As if Komorebi and the system aren't enough of a nuisance, they're discovering new ways to control us. If this nostalgia technology comes to fruition, we'll never know which moment in time could be used against us in the future. At least now we know it's only when we leave the house and stuff like that. With this new tech, most people will spend every second of every day regulating their lives, making pure memories. But what happens to my private time? You know, when I feel like that may be their end goal. Either way, we are about to find out. We're in this together now, just like me and my friends promised each other at the start of this, until the end. Become Chris. What? I guess you talk about Deltarune here? And if you happen to talk about Deltarune Chapter 2, then I would ask you not to continue this. I don't know who is Chris. Okay. You know the main protagonist in Deltarune, their name is Chris. It was just strange because Chris is usually spelled with Chris, and Chris with a K is very specific that I only heard in Deltarune. That's why. Anyway, we have 2 more heart-to-heart things and then we're gonna stop. But let's go to Delta.
Experience. Heart-to-heart
Yes. Looks like it was time for me to chat with Dante. Out of all the others, he was probably the closest to Isaac. Because of that, current events were probably hitting him the hardest. But with a strong bond comes strong trust. Against better judgment, it seems like he would do anything for Isaac. Even follow him into the heart of Argus HQ in the name of a better future.
What a great con, huh?
So positive. The sarcasm in his voice is immense.
I wish we could be out there helping the Zeros, but I guess we're doing it in our own way. It's the waiting that kills me, though. There's so many people just standing around. At least the Zeros are being fed. Too little, too late, some would say.
There's no denying it. What happened was truly awful. There was no reason for those Zeros to die, not a single one. I could see the guilt on the faces of people helping out in the town square. If only I stepped in sooner is probably what they are thinking. If I help now, I feel less guilty about it, is the aura I feel in the air. It's almost like they care more about their conscience than those lives. But at the end of the day, help is still help, right? Does it even matter what's going on in their heads? Or am I just projecting what I feel onto the unsuspecting masses?
Better late than never, others would say. At least now there will only be 2 casualties.
Too many, if you ask me.
How do you feel about all this, Delta? I can tell it's affecting you more than you let on.
It was, but I feel calm now that you're by my side.
Wow, really? Good to know I have that effect. Personally, I won't be able to relax until Sunday is over. But with everything going on, I hope you don't blame me. In this situation, I don't think anything could calm me down.
How about a fist to the face? No, don't do that. I hate my head. Sometimes I hate what my head is making up within seconds. I said, punch him in the head, in the face. And then my mind goes like, but what if we... What if we kicked him in the face and then do a Zangief pile driver? It's like, thank you, head. Yeah, that's really helping. Thank you. Could try using a bit of more... what? He could try using a bit of denial like everybody else.
Nah, I feel like facing my feelings head on. Or at the very least, letting them out in my writing. Speaking of the writing, by the way, it's going well. I lost a bit of time, but I think everything will be good. After this blows over, I'll be full of inspiration. Especially with how weird things have been lately. I mean, that whole being watched from the future thing?
He knows?
You gotta admit, it's pretty outlandish. But so is the idea of Komorebi, and here we are.
He shrugs.
Time is just a bunch of nonsense anyway, isn't it? The only thing that matters is the moment.
Yes, time is a bunch of nonsense, considering it's just movement, but everybody denies this truth.
At the end of the day, that's all we can really call our own. At least in theory.
He scoffs.
Other people being able to see my memories. You gotta be kidding me, that's so embarrassing.
I agree.
After Sunday, I might never do anything again. Just sit at home and avoid creating any regrets.
I think that's what Argus is aiming for.
Full social control, huh? I never figured they'd end up being that evil, but I saw those bodies. I saw their true nature. Also, I might as well get this out of the way. Sorry, Delta, but I don't believe you.
Oh? Kind of figured I could convince all my friends. Leave it to Delta to be the odd one out.
I don't think we're being watched right now. But at the same time, they did announce this technology, so maybe I'll meet you halfway, at the more believable part.
And what's the more believable part?
That one day we'll be able to revisit these memories. Remember what Taylor said way back when we were pre-gaming? Create some memories that we can revisit whenever we want. I don't know about you, but that's been my motto lately.
Kind of an ironic thing for Taylor to say, given the circumstances.
I'd especially like to revisit my life before the midnight deaths. You know, the good old days. As worried as I was, at least nothing bad happened to me. So that's kind of the logic I'm using right now. You're worrying for nothing. Seems to be a pretty comforting thought. Gotta give you and Isaac some credit, though. You have some pretty active imaginations. Coming from a writer, that's a compliment, by the way. I mean, sending memories to the future for subterfuge? Engaging in the highest possible levels of corporate espionage? You're giving me a bunch of ideas for my next book. But I think that's all it is. A bunch of fiction spawned from fear.
You could make a game out of that. Oh!
Or maybe not fear, maybe resolve is the right word. You want to give our mission on Sunday more importance. A greater cause is always easier to commit to, after all. First it was the agent, now it's this.
I did see an agent, Dante.
But the footage said otherwise.
Saw them at the party too.
Now that's impossible. Isaac was pretty vigilant.
I think they snuck in the back door after Isaac silenced it.
Maybe we should just focus on the stuff we can confirm. And yes, this is me totally projecting my fright. I don't know how I'd handle all the extra stress you seem to be embracing, but I'm sure everything will be fine after all of this blows over. So, let's figure it out then. We can talk about it on our date, actually. I imagine that's going to have to wait until after Sunday. I'd suggest that we go to dinner now, but if our friends tag along out of necessity, it's not really a date.
Why? Why? Is it weird to have a date with this other person while, let's see, how many friends? Like 4 friends sit at the next table observing you? Not weird at all. Completely normal. It's okay. I know, that seems fair to me. Part of me is a little upset, but I can't exactly blame Dante. Guess I just got lucky with convincing my other friends. Or maybe I had to do with the lives they lived. An idol, a streamer, a master of tech. They all fueled their belief through experiences they've had. I didn't just ask them to believe me, though. They almost convinced themselves. I'm tempted to try and convince him, but I decide to drop it for now. As long as we have him by our side on Sunday, that's all that really matters. I wonder if he would change his mind if he knew that Isaac was Hermes.
By the way, speaking of extra stress, I kinda have a plan. When we're in Argus HQ, I might sneak off on my own.
That sounds not like a good idea. Wait, what?
Hopefully not too far, or ideally not at all. But if I can find a computer with high-level access there, I need to look up my family. Right now, I have no clue where to start. They don't live in my childhood home anymore. I looked into it, and the people who live there now won't respond to my emails. At an Argus computer, though, I can literally just search their names.
Why are you not asking Isaac to do this?
Then, after everything is over, I can reconnect with my family. If everyone else gets a new start, I think I want one too. So just be prepared, okay? I've already run it by Isaac.
I've already run it by Isaac. And he's okay with it?
Yeah, of course. But it's our secret for now, okay? We're the only people that know.
Okay, that is more okay-ish since he actually asked Isaac about this. He nudges me on the shoulder playfully.
Kind of like this little future observation thing, huh? If it turns out to be true, I'll make sure to eat my words. And I'll let you watch so you can relive it over and over.
So you're gonna write it down on paper and then eat it. Perfect and foolproof plan. Nothing wrong could happen. Of course not. You have to keep in mind he is a technical genius that has also the access to the computers to pull this off. It's not like he's just a writer on. Oh. We both laugh, embracing the absurdity of what he's saying. Perhaps belief wasn't as important as the willingness to follow. Same thing could be said about the city in the town square too. They were helping. It was the action that mattered, not the reason. Whether to clear guilty conscience or any number of things in between. We all wanted the same thing, to show Argus that their reign was over. He's gonna guess the password wrong 3 times and starts the alarm. No, even better, it's gonna be an Apple system. You're gonna input the password wrong, you have to wait. Then you input the password wrong, you're gonna have to wait longer this time. And repeat, and repeat. You know what? To some degree I find this hilarious, this system that Apple has on their devices like that. Because to some degree, that's also shit towards the person who actually knows the password, but makes maybe a mistake when inputting the password. You have always to wait longer and longer. Just shit. Especially, it's just shit and useless because it can be circumvented. It's like... Whatever came next, it was in the hands of the people. Pushing any thoughts aside, that was more than enough to unite us all. Wow. Interesting. Okay. One last thing to do. It's not like I played this game now for 6 hours. Actually, 5 hours.
Experience Heart-to-Heart Fragment. Isaac 4.
On which day does this happen? Let's see. The 2nd. I asked for some private time with Isaac, and nobody seems to mind. This might be our last chance for heart-to-heart before Hermes Day. Imagine that this term became a thing, heart-to-heart. Hey Jimmy, wanna do a heart-to-heart tonight? Like, huh? HTH. Or Generation Z would just shorten that to T or HT or yeah, I don't know. Must be pretty flattering to have a day named after yourself, huh?
Enjoying the con so far? I'm kinda glad we won that bet.
Sure. Oh, I really think this is more fair to everybody, but let's be a little bit egoistic. Let's use the money to take a vacation together.
Like, just the two of us? I'm game. But, where should we go?
The living room, yeah. Oh wait, we're talking about vacations. Starts thinking, but then stops almost immediately.
Actually, let's not derail the conversation. I take it you wanted to talk about something specific?
I can't stop thinking about what you told me.
You mean my true role in all this? Trust me, I'm still coming to terms with it myself.
Huh? Starts pacing around the room as he speaks. Let me guess, his father was, the leader of the previous rebel groups that tried that.
You know it's all tied to my vision, right? I'm pretty sure Dante made that perfectly clear.
Maybe.
Can you imagine having a weight like that on your shoulders? Knowing that you need to be the one who changes the world?
I can imagine it, and it sucks. I can't imagine that kind of pressure, no?
Exactly. Not many can. In fact, I'd argue that we're not meant to. But I've lived it every day for almost my entire life. And I know that nothing but absolute perfection will ensure my success. I don't think it's possible to recreate a vision one-to-one. I think there's always going to be differences and changes. But with how much is on the line, I can't afford any of that. For about a decade, I've lived knowing that I have to achieve the impossible. And if I don't pull it off, then nothing changes. Argus still has us in their pocket, and the Zeros are still stuck outside. Is it so much to ask for just a little harmony in the world?
I can't help but sympathize with him. It must feel nice to open up about all of this, though. Part of me feels like I'm the first person he's ever told.
I used to tell myself that a miracle would happen, that one day a switch would flick and everything would make sense. All the missing pieces would fall into place and I'd be able to pull this off. But that hasn't happened. I've been winging it this entire time. So it's taught me one valuable lesson. There's no such thing as a miracle. Just hope and how we choose to wield it.
That last sentence sticks with me. How we choose to wield hope. Right now, my hope is that these memories could come to our aid. That no matter what happens, this period of my life will be a time capsule. And one day, when it needs to be opened, people can see what really happened. I flipped the conversation around and vocalized these thoughts to Isaac. I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but honestly, so does the fact that he's Hermes. Isaac, I've been thinking about something.
Oh? Is everything okay?
It's about that agent. I know I saw them.
I don't know, Delta. We could go over the footage together if you wanted.
It wouldn't work. They're watching from afar.
But you said they were right in front of you.
Far away, as in watching from the future.
How is that possible?
I think it has to do with the new nostalgia technology.
The ability to relive the past.
I think in the future they're investigating all our lives. And I might be feeling some sort of weird after effect. Isaac sighs, signaling disbelief and even a hint of annoyance. I expect his next words to chastise me and tell me to get back to reality.
I believe you.
Huh? Oh?
It makes sense.
How? It barely makes sense to me.
Well, maybe it doesn't make sense per se. It's just a logical deduction, given everything that's happened. Don't you remember what I said? I've been seeing things in the corner of my eye, too. And I know all about the nostalgia tech as well. It's been mentioned in a lot of internal emails. What does it change, though? It's not like they can do anything to us from there.
Maybe not, but we can do something to them.
In what way?
We live our lives knowing that they will view our memories. We can leave behind any message we want, any memories we want.
Wow. Fancy a game of 4D chess, huh?
He starts to think. I'm left in an awkward silence for several moments.
The very flow of time would be our battlefield.
Now he's getting it.
What should we do then?
Make sure they know that we are good people.
How would that help us? Good people can still do bad things. In fact, there's nothing more harmful than good intentions. We should send them a real message, something substantial. Let me think about this, all right? Remember, we're going right into their HQ. If my sights could become evidence, I need to rethink my plan.
I'm shocked by how quickly he's accepting my theory. It's almost too convenient, so I ask him, hoping I don't come off as paranoid.
Like I said, it makes perfect sense. I live my life constantly experiencing memories of the future. Say whatever you want, but that's literally impossible. The idea that we'll be able to revisit past memories? That's nothing compared to the reality I face. Besides, it was only a matter of time anyway. Photos, audio recordings, video recordings. This just feels like the next step, doesn't it?
Sadly, it does.
Of course, it'll just be tainted by the hands of Argus. There's no way their motivations are selfless. But selfish motivations can only be fought with selfless hands. So I say we turn this around and put them in their place.
I know, that's basically what I had planned. Of course, I really just wanted him to open up to me. People in the future deserve to know who he really was. Because if they didn't, then Argus would fill in the gaps. And something told me they wouldn't see him as the hero that I do.
Oh, more about me? Sorry, I guess I got caught up in the bigger picture. But that makes perfect sense to me. You focus on capturing the group and I'll do the rest. I know I can use this future technology against them in the present.
He sits on the edge of the bed and softly pats the spot beside him. I join him and we look at each other with a smile.
Of course, that can wait. For the record though, I want to open up to you. If someone else is watching, that doesn't change anything.
I nod, otherwise this would be an interrogation. I can't force them to tell me their story, I can only ask them to open up willingly. Thankfully, this group is bound by trust, a trust that now reveals all our true natures.
Let's see. Well, what did I tell you last time?
Your dad was an Argus legend,
Right.
and you were a master at tinkering with technology.
Good to know you were paying attention.
He smirks. Was that some sort of test?
I guess I can pick up the story from that part. You already know most of my secrets anyway.
Rubbing the back of his head, he blushes softly.
But first and foremost, I have to thank you. I was scared you'd run away when I told you the truth. My role in Cypher hasn't made me the most forthcoming. It'd be so easy to call me a liar and go off on your way. In fact, I can tell that Dante and Taylor were considering it. You learn a thing or two about reading people in retail.
He nudges me playfully. It's true, he did tell quite a few lies. But I can understand the need to keep his secrets. Shall sleep now. Have a great day. Thank you, Epitune, for being here, and good sleep to you. I hope it is going to be a restful, good sleep for you. Thank you so much. Oh, fine. Keep your secrets, wizard. He had an exceptional burden weighing down his every move. It must have felt good for him to finally let out these secrets.
So, yeah, thanks. You basically know everything, but I can try to fill in the gaps.
He tugs at the collar of his leather jacket.
When I was growing up, I always liked messing with Argus tech. I guess I wanted to mimic my dad since I could tell he was successful. Even though I was a kid, I actually helped him with his work. that's probably when he started to realize the potential I had. I remember fiddling with our security system. You know, kind of like I do in our house. My dad started to be concerned with his safety. I don't know why, but he kept testing the security system. In his paranoia, I guess he needed to know if it still worked. But that test alarm terrified me, especially as a kid. So, like you might have guessed, I found a way to mute it.
He laughs, like he's surprised at how talented he was.
Obviously, I got scolded. It was there to keep us safe, after all. But as kids, I don't think we fully understand danger and paranoia. So then, he got a new security system. It was more advanced and more attached to the system. Theoretically, it wouldn't be possible for me to mute this one. But I'm not the type to back down from a challenge. Sure enough, I cracked this one too. He was furious. Well, furious with a side of shock and awe, of course.
True. True. That was an impressive feat for a child to pull off.
That's where I stopped the story last time, right?
I nod.
Well, he upgraded the security again.
Of course.
This time, it was unreleased experimental tech. It worked and passed all of his tests just fine. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I left it alone. But that's where things get really weird. One night, someone broke into our home. And sure enough, the alarm didn't go off. My dad told me to run and hide under his bed. I don't know who broke in, but they started fighting. There's one thing I'll never forget, though. The look on my dad's face when he told me to run away. He obviously knew that the security system was muted. And in that moment, I could tell he blamed it on me. I couldn't defend myself either. All I could do was hide. So, yeah. His final thoughts of me will always be ones of anger. But I was innocent. It was his trust in the tech that hurt him.
So, his dad was killed? I didn't expect to hear that.
I'm pretty sure I deserve it. I disobeyed him every chance I got, after all. And the one time I start listening to him, you know how cruel irony can be. If I ignored his orders, I would have opened up the tech. Then I could have fixed what was wrong with it. Defiance could have saved his life. That's a lesson I've carried with me ever since. In fact, I'm using that defiance to save the Zeros. I can't just sit back and do nothing. Not like last time.
He's using his past to justify his current actions. But it's not just his current actions. Everything makes more sense. I suddenly see him in a completely different light. He sells and installs Argus tech so he can make sure it's done correctly. Otherwise, someone else might lose a loved one to a faulty device or glitch. He follows his father's footsteps because he feels responsible for what happened. I suppose if you rob someone of their legacy, you have to make it your own. All of that stuff is so tragic, but then there's his vision. Devoting his life to a corporation that he knew he would end up defying. Besmirching the name of himself and the legacy of his father? No, that would only happen if we lose. I know Isaac is doing the right thing here.
Well, there you have it. Argus Tech is all I ever really knew. After my dad died, I went to live with his brother. But even then, I preferred working with technology. I didn't really make friends or bond with my uncle. He was mad that I kept this leather jacket. Said I needed to let go instead of carrying the past with me. But I know he was just projecting. It was a reminder of his brother. But it's hard for me to let go of this thing, Delta. It gave me safety during one of the worst moments in my life. When I was under that bed, it was all I had to wrap around myself. It kept me hidden. I laid under that bed for almost 24 hours. I waited until the police arrived, like I was taught. Those flashing blue and yellow lights lit up the bedroom. That's when I knew it was safe to come out. Of course, I came out to some bad news.
He gives me a nervous smile.
I hope that's good enough.
I place my paw on top of his, intertwining our fingers. That was a lot to take in, but it made me understand him so much more. And if he was going to be a man with a legacy, he'd want this to be a part of it.
You know, that was pretty cathartic. Gotta commend you for the idea, Delta. And if people ever listen in on this, well, I'm happy with the way I worded things. It's important for the world to know what makes me tick, right? Every detail we hold back will be a detail lost to time. And I'd never want to lose what we have.
He places a paw on my cheek and looks into my eyes.
All this talk about what shapes me and makes me tick. It'd be remiss of me not to give you the spotlight.
He smiles and laughs, but it has a mischievous tone.
Our love transcends time. Isn't that cool? A real romance for the ages. Who knows how many people might experience this? That nostalgia tech could turn all of our lives into a stage. So let's work toward a standing ovation.
We both lean forward and our lips lock together. I can feel all of his passion, but also all of his pain. His grip on my paw tightens and I feel him tremble. A few moments later, the kiss is broken. He looks at me with glistening eyes and a wide smile.
Remember, great things.
That's another chapter who became pretty real. But this is also where we're gonna stop with this game. I don't know. I wanted to do like more than this, but it's okay. It's okay. I always get lost in Komorebi, to be honest, because it's just so good.